Well, hello, or should I say
Hello.
greetings to each and every one of you today. So glad you're here with us. My name is Leslie Montgomery, and you are tuned into LK and Kingdom Living. And today we'll be talking about being smart with your money. And let's get started. So, as I said, hey, Cynthia, so
Hi,
glad to have you
Leslie.
here. It's been a minute. Cynthia and I love this lady. We don't get to talk that often, but
No, we
I
don't.
just love her spirit. We had the opportunity to work together with Doreen Let'some Reed and her community. We were ambassadors. She was a better ambassador than I was, but
Oh, no. No, I wouldn't say that. No. We were in it together. We were
and it
together.
was a pleasure. I would not have ever met her if it wasn't for that. So I'm glad for the opportunity to have worked with you then, and I'm glad and excited for the opportunity to have you here today. Cynthia has been in the financial field for many years, and has she has the education. She's educated in the field, and not only is she educated in the field, she finally wrote a book to help
Yay.
people. Yeah, to help people to better. Uh, what do you call it? To be in a better place financially, and that's what we're going to talk about today. I'm so excited, Cynthia, for your book. I'm so excited for the opportunity for coming on to Leslie's Lessons Learned. Thank you so much. I appreciate it. So, Cynthia, it can just tell us a little bit about you and what you do.
Actually, first I want to say thank you for allowing me to come on your show. I thank you for this opportunity. I feel like we've been knowing each other for a long time, a long, long time.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yes.
and I thank you for this opportunity. Actually, what I do, I'm a financial coach, and people probably say, "Well, what is that? What is a financial coach?" I am the type of financial coach that actually holds individuals accountable, as well as identify strategies and roadblocks and cycles and mismanaging skills that they have that need to be, let's say, broken, or come up with a new strategy as to how to manage money. So I'm, as a financial coach, I'm not there to tell an individual what to do.
Hmm.
I'm actually there to be on the journey with them, to identify, okay, where you are, where it is you want to go, what things are hindering you, what do you feel, what areas do you feel you're strong in, what areas do you feel that you are weak in. So it's not for me to dictate and say you need to do this, you need to do that, this, that, and the other. It's just to be there with you, to be your support person and to be your accountability person, and we work together to identify what is not working and
What?
what we need to do to get it working.
Yes.
Because sadly, individuals get stuck in a cycle and really don't know how to get out of it. And really, it is a mindset, it is a changing of the mindset. So, as a financial coach, I'm not there to point out your errors or what you're doing wrong, any of that. I'm there to be your accountability partner, as well as somebody to walk along with you, and we together identify what it is that's holding you back, what it is that you have been doing in the past that is no longer working, that we need to sit down, look at it, and maybe come up with a new way or new strategies to help move an individual forward. So as a financial coach, that's what I do.
Okay. Thank you. So, you know, when you said a whole mouthful, but you said valuable things. You said valuable things. You said, and I think that that's one thing that we're missing, finding out where the chain is broken,
Exactly.
finding out. how to mend that chain and fix it, that we can have more of a balance with our finances. Most of
Yes.
us have not been taught how to manage money. I was telling them, oh, yesterday I was talking to a group and I was saying that my grandmother was a balancer. She knew how to handle money, but my grandfather and my mother didn't. So, and then my father, he was just stingy. You just didn't get any
Mhm.
money from him.
Yeah.
So that's kind of like a melting pot that could go
Yeah.
south or
Yeah.
sour real quick. And a couple of my siblings, well, I don't know what they do. Let me not say that, but uh, you can see the effects of both sides in the lineage. So I put it that way. And it's so important, especially in this time and day. Things is the prices is rising.
Yes.
You got to be more wise with your money,
Yes.
and
Yes.
can't just be frivolous like you used to be.
Exactly.
So,
Exactly.
so what made you write the book?
Actually, my passion has always been, which started with my time in real estate as a real estate agent. My passion has always been to provide resource and information to individuals, but I didn't know how I could get it out. You know what I'm saying? I had the information, it was burning on the inside, and I'm like, how can I get this information out?
Yeah,
And that's when the idea of the book came. I'm like, okay, take what you know, take my experiences and put it in book form. That way I can get it out of me, get it into a book form, and then pass it on to other individuals so that they can read it for themselves and they can take in this information and do the necessary work to make the changes. And I wanted this book. My desire for this book was to be different than any of the book, any other financial book. I knew exactly what I wanted. Number one, I wanted this book to be an easy read. And the reason I wanted the book to be an easy read is because when people are going through financially, the last thing anybody wants to do is read.
yeah,
You know, when you're completing a loan application or mortgage application, any type of thing like that, you really don't want to read all of that stuff. You just want to get to the meat of it and do what you need to do.
yes.
So I was thinking, I said, individuals who are struggling financially, who find themselves in this financial place, I'm like, they're not going to want to read hundreds and hundreds of pages. They're not going to want to decipher and try to figure out what I am saying. So, number one, I wanted the book to be easy read. I wanted individuals to be able to open the book, finish the book, gain something from the book, and also while reading the book, actually asking themselves questions and assessing themselves. So it's really an interactive book. Because the publisher, I told him, I said, I want you to know this is not a read only book. This is just not a book for read. This is not a read only. This is an interactive book between the reader and the book, you know, giving you an opportunity to read as well as sit back for a moment and have that Selah moment, like, and make assessments. And to test the waters, when it was in the manuscript form, one of my male cousins, I had him read it. And when after he finished, I said, okay, now I want your feedback. Everything I just said is what he said. He said it was easy read and it made him think. And that was the whole thing I wanted. When somebody read this book, I want them to think. I want the book to motivate them to think, to question, and to assess what it is that you're doing, whether or not you fall in any one of these categories, whether or not you're doing this, and whether or not you need to make changes. And so far, the feedback that I have gotten from individuals that I have asked who I know have read the book, that's exactly, I'm getting the same thing consistently, that the information is straight to the point. There's no fluffiness for anybody to decipher. It's straight to the point and it makes you think and you question some of the things that you are doing and it motivates you to make the necessary changes.
That's
So
good.
Yeah, so I did not want it to be a read only book. I already knew that. I wanted to be an interactive, kind of like a workbook situation. And it does have questions in there at the end of some of the chapters for
Mhm.
you to answer in the book. Think about, answer, and see where you are. So the book is mainly for the individual. And I wanted to target the person. You know, we can tell somebody what to do all day long.
Right.
Oftentimes, if there's, like you were saying, if there's a disconnect or a brokenness or something on the inside, we're not going to be able to get to that goal. Even though I'm telling you, some people can't make the connection because we need to fix some other things before we make that connection. And that is what being smart with money is about.
So
And
I
go
want to
ahead.
stop you for a minute because
Mhm.
what is some of the ways mentally that can cause someone um, to change their mindset, if that makes sense? Um,
It does. It does. Actually, the first part of the book,
uh-huh.
I actually deal with, well, chapter 2 is about your relationship. I talk about your relationship with money. And then I talk about culture because culture actually plays a huge part into how we interact with money, our relationship with money. And culture is our environment, our upbringing, the person that we saw as we were growing up as the financial role model. A lot of times, you know, we are our experiences. We are what we have learned growing up. We are our environment. And if we're not exposed to certain things, then we are limited in our knowledge and our ability to succeed in those areas. So
Okay.
definitely culture plays a huge part in the chapter. There's a chapter in the book that talks about culture and it questions some of the things and it asks you to take a look at your culture. What was your culture like? What was your household expenses like? Who handled it? What did they do? Because a lot of times we mimic as adults what we learned in our household.
Right.
And sometimes we don't know that that is off. I'm not going to say wrong, but we don't know that it is off until we start running into problems. And that is what, go ahead.
I'm sorry.
No
So,
problem.
that's a key thing that you speak about. I just talked about. Let me say good afternoon, good to some, good morning to some, good afternoon to some, good evenings. Thank you so much for being here with us as we're talking about being smart with your money. Pastor Jackie is from the UK. Welcome, Pastor Jackie. We're so happy that you're here. And as the others enter the room, take a moment and hit that like sign, subscribe, and share. A lot of people out there is going to need this information, and we want to get it out to them. So I was thinking about what you were saying about the culture, because every culture is different, and how
Exactly.
they handle money is different. How they teach their children to handle money is different. I think one of the things with our culture that I see is that the lack of not having enough
Yeah.
money, and by not having enough money, when we get it, we squander it. I guess I don't know if that's the correct word to use. We spend it. We spend it because we have to, a lot of times, because we only have enough to do what we do. And or we gotta have the name brand and the bling bling.
Exactly, exactly. And it's good you brought that up because there's also a part in the book that talks about your personality, your spending personality. Believe it or not, we all have a spending personality. So that's why I'm like, being smart with money is not about investment, it's not about budgeting, it's not about that type of thing. It's actually dealing with the inner workings of the mind, the core of a person. It's dealing with the person so that we can root out what is going on and get that together to move forward so that we can have healthy relationships with our money. Because, say, for instance, like what you were just saying, if you grew up in a home where there was always lack, oftentimes in adulthood, whenever you are making money or having money, you do squander it because you've never had.
Right.
So you're trying to get what you've never had. You see what I'm saying? But
Yeah.
if we can fix that, then an individual won't be, you will not be squandering it and spending unnecessarily and all of that. So there's a core issue when you see somebody overspending in a vicious financial cycle. There is something underneath. There is an underlying issue
Yeah.
that needs to be dealt with. And oftentimes we hear about somebody winning the lottery, right? And we are like, oh my gosh, how did they spend up all that money? And they, oh my, I would never do that. But you don't know, because if that individual, I'm going to use the word heal, if that individual is broken, then they don't know what to do with that money.
Yeah.
They have not been taught what to do with that money. They don't know the value of that money. They don't have a positive relationship with money. So it shouldn't surprise us that an individual can win millions and then they just blow it overnight. And that's what the book addresses. What is going on internally that causes an individual to do what they do.
Yeah. And
We
that's a very important thing.
Yeah, it
Uh,
is. It really
because
is.
that's a broad um, thing,
Yeah. Yeah.
because
It
so many people have so many traumas with money.
Exactly.
Growing up with no money, growing up with
Yes.
no food,
Yes.
growing up just different ways, and it causes them to not know they're doing what they know to do.
What they know to do.
Yeah.
Exactly. Exactly. And then think about it too. When you have low self-esteem, then that the name brand, and I got to have this and I got to have that to compensate for the fact that I have low self-esteem. If I have all these material things, then these material things will validate me.
Impress.
Yeah, yeah. They will validate me, but still there needs to be some healing. Still we really need to address what's going on internally, because you're buying and buying and buying and buying, and these material things, I got the biggest car, the biggest house, the biggest whatever, to validate me. I am somebody now. But if you take away all those things, or if something happens and all those things are removed from the individual, 9 times out of 10 they will collapse. They will be distraught, because see, those things, as I said, validate and makes an individual feel important. So without things, then I feel like I'm nobody.
But what about the society that makes you think you got, in order for you to have the prestige, you got to have all those things?
But see, here again, when you're healed and when you know who you are,
Wisdom.
exactly, you're not really worried about what society says. Society is society. I could be saying that, you see a person that has $1 million, but they may be driving a Honda. You know
Yeah.
what I'm saying? It's what
I
the
know
world
many of
says.
millionaires
Yes,
don't have,
yes.
you would never know.
Right, exactly. And you would be surprised. Millionaires just wear common clothes, drive common
Yes.
cars, think they're not out there to flaunt, because number one, they know who they are and they know what they have, and they're not trying to impress anybody, and they're not allowing the world to dictate their value and tell them who they are and all of that kind of stuff. So when you're healed and you're whole, you know who you are, then you don't have to be concerned about any of those things.
That's good. So, what are some of the other chapters in your book?
Okay, other chapters in the book, we talk about your relationship with money, because a lot of times we don't realize we have a relationship with money. But believe it or not, we all have some type of relationship with money. That could be good or it could be bad. And so the book actually talks about that. For instance, like what emotions do you feel when you talk about money? What thoughts do you have when you think about money? So the chapter just goes into getting you to think about, how am I interacting with money? Is my interaction with money good, or is my interaction with money bad?
And you
And
usually can look at a person and tell, or listen to a person
exactly,
and tell.
exactly. And I actually have that in the
Look,
book.
mumps is the word. Mumps
Yeah,
right now is my word.
yeah. You are right. You can actually listen to a person, and you can tell where they are, financially. But it's a sad thing when we feel like we need to keep up with everybody else, because when you're whole and like I said, you know who you are. You don't need the world to validate you. You don't need the largest car to validate you, because you know who you are. And then value is pretty much based on your assets anyway. What assets do you have? That when you're going to the bank or anything, they're looking at your worth. It's like, what is your worth? I can have all these cars and stuff, but I don't have any worth. I owe all this money on these cars, but I don't have any worth. But what worth do you have? You see what I'm saying? So it's all about having worth, and it's all about having assets that you can turn in for cash. You don't want to have more liabilities, meaning money that you owe, then you have assets. Because then you're in a bad place, because you're paying more, you're paying out all this stuff and you don't have anything, you're just paying out.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I
So,
think about celebrities and how the young people desire what they have,
mm-hmm,
and a lot of stuff they have, they really don't have. Like
right.
they, what's that? They come, they go out and they want to show you where they live, and most of them are renting. Not
Yeah.
saying anything is wrong with renting, but they have this facade or this image that they own it, and then the young people is like they gotta have what they have, and I
Mm-hmm.
think that that's a lot of the casualty today, in our, not just in our inside in our society, but in the world, because everybody's trying to get what they see somebody else has.
Exactly. And I think we have to find contentment, because the way the world is now, there's just so much competition, like you just
Competition.
said, trying to compete to get what this and get what that. But at the end of the day, do you have peace? At the end of the day, are you satisfied and comfortable with where you are? Because me personally, peace above everything means more than just consuming, because you can have all these things but still be a miserable person. You can have all these things and still be an unhappy person.
Yeah.
You can have all these
Not
material
sleeping
things,
at night.
yes, and not being effective in the world, and not being effective in the world. You know what I'm saying? But you just have a
Yes.
bunch of material stuff
Yes.
that that you use to really validate you. And it's sad, because we should be whole enough to where, money doesn't, how can I say it? Money doesn't make us, but we make the money. It doesn't dictate to us, we dictate to it. You know what I'm saying? It
And
doesn't
that's how it's
control us.
supposed to be, right?
Right, right. We
And
control it.
but
Yeah,
right, but it has most people, it has control of them, and it rules them instead of
exactly.
us ruling it. This is where you're gonna go. This is what we're gonna do, and this is what
Right,
we're not gonna do.
right. Exactly. Exactly, exactly.
Yeah.
Because like I said, I can have all those things, but what is my worth? And don't, just because I may be driving this or not driving that, does not necessarily mean that a person does not have worth of value. Because in the world now, we just kind of size people up by what they have, what they wear, and what they drive. But that really doesn't mean anything, because you have so many empty people walking around with just a whole bunch of stuff, but they're empty on the inside, they're unhappy on the inside, they're unfulfilled on the inside. You see what I'm saying? But we have
Yes.
all this stuff,
Yeah.
and we keep accumulating more stuff, thinking that we're going to fill that void, but the void never gets filled. We just continue to consume and consume and consume, but we're never really truly happy.
Never.
Never.
don't
Mm-mm.
even don't even can't don't even know what it is to be happy,
Exactly.
um,
Exactly.
because you've never lived that life. You never lived
Exactly.
the life of peace. You've always lived the life of the hustle and the bustle. And what's the song? They don't let the Joneses get you down. That was a real thing. Okay, we were singing it and dancing to it, but that was a real thing. Don't let the Joneses get you down. Trying to keep up with the Joneses.
Exactly, exactly. Just be satisfied with who you are. And that actually takes a strong individual, you know what I'm saying? To not compete. You really have to just know who you are, stay in your lane and be confident in your own lane and not try to compete because we're all uniquely designed anyway, right?
That's right.
So there's no need to be competing because I don't want to be like anybody else. I want to be unique. I want to
Right.
be me. I want to be in my own lane, functioning in my own lane, succeeding in my own lane, being fulfilled in my own lane. So I don't want to be trying to look like the next person or get what the next person have because what they have may not necessarily be for me. So I just stay in my lane and I do me and be happy with doing that.
Yeah, because even with that, if you think about it, so many people have nervous breakdowns
Yeah,
trying to keep up,
yeah,
trying to be with somebody, what it
yeah,
looks like it should be,
yeah,
you know.
yeah,
And
yeah, yeah. And I think it's really about being content with oneself, learning to be happy with oneself, because we can have all these things, as I said earlier, and still not be happy, still
right,
not be content, still not be fulfilled. It's like just chasing after the air and never catching anything, never being fulfilled or satisfied at all.
wow, this
Yeah.
is good. This is good.
Yeah.
Hmm.
And another thing in the book I talk about is developing a new mindset, because that's another thing. We've got to change the way we think. If we grew up in poverty or we grew up in a house where there really wasn't a whole lot, it's going to take some work to change that mindset, because we may have the mindset, oh, this is how it's always going to be, or I can't do better, or I can't do any more than what mama did, those types of things. But we have to really renew our mindset. And, that comes with learning new information,
Hmm.
because we can't operate with a new mindset on old information. And I have to just kind of throw the word in here, like I say, put in new wine in old wine skin. It can't hold it. I mean, in order to go to the next
That's
level in
good.
anything, we've got to prepare ourselves, educate ourselves to go to the next level of anything, because there has to be a shifting in the mindset to be able to embrace and to be able to walk and to be able to maintain at that next level. So
That's
we
good.
really have to shift and change the mindset, and that comes with new information, and that comes with being exposed, to different things. So I always tell people, read about, financial things. Just pick up a book about anything financial and read it, so that you can begin to shift your mindset if you're struggling in that area, or if you have limited beliefs, or you just really don't get it. Just begin to read, research, Google, have Google talk back to you or
Yeah,
something.
yeah.
Just get the information, because we have to change the mindset. We really have to change the mindset, and we really need to change the mindset from just consuming, being consumers. We just buy, 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 buy. But what are we investing in? What are we actually owning? You see what I'm saying? What assets do we really have? You know?
What about a person that doesn't desire any? I guess you can't do nothing much with them.
Yeah, actually, you really can't do that's like with anything. We come across people all the time that we want more for them, in the financial area, maybe in their health or whatever. Sometimes our loved ones, we want more for them, we want better for them. But just say, for instance, like money, or even a person that, a family member or somebody, I'm just going to use this as an example, who eats all the wrong things and have really bad health. We can't make them do that. If they
Right.
don't desire a financial change, or if they don't desire to eat different, what can you do?
Yeah.
You really can't do anything. You can't force anybody to do what they don't want to do.
Yeah. So before you go any further with your book, Do you have classes? Sounds like you need to have some seminars and classes.
Yeah, I don't have classes set up right now. However, I do have I do coaching, one-on-one coaching with individuals. I'm in the process of developing the website. It's not public yet because we're still in the process of putting it together. Hopefully by the end of this month, I can open it up publicly, but we're behind the scenes working it out. But
Awesome.
you can always send me an email at beingsmartwithmoney@yahoo.com if you're interested in a free consult where we just sit and talk, find out what's going on with you. Like I said, it's no pressure. It's nothing to be embarrassed about because at some point in time, we all hit, a little bump in the road, so to
Yeah.
speak.
Yeah.
So there's no pressure, there's no embarrassment. People like feel embarrassed. No, life happens, and I get that because life happened to me at one time, and I get it. Life happens, so
Yeah.
there's no need to feel like I got to be pressured and I got to do this and I got to do that. No, like I said before, it's not to make anybody do anything. It's just for us to work along each other, identify where you are, where you want to go, and then we work out trying to get there. And it's going to take commitment
Yeah.
to actually get to where it is you want to go.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's hard work, but it's doable. And I tell everybody, don't give up because when I was coming out of the trenches, I'm like, am I ever going to get to the end of this? Am I ever going to see the light?
Yeah.
But I didn't give up. And I finally got there. I was like, yay. And once you do the work, you will not go back because you worked so
Hard
hard.
to get there.
Yeah, you work so hard to get out until you be like, nah, I'm not doing that. You will find yourself saying no to many things because you don't want to go back. That's when you do the work. And that's what I say, doing the hard work is necessary most of the time if you want to maintain whatever it is that you're trying to succeed in, because when you do it by the sweat of your brows and you got to really work hard, you're not as easy to go back, to default back to where you were, because you know how hard it was to move forward. So you don't really easily just say, yeah, I'm gonna go back. No, you don't go back because you worked too hard to go forward.
I'm free now.
Yes, I'm not going back to bondage.
Yeah. So, um, your consultations, are they 15 minutes, half an hour? What's
Actually, they're from 30 minutes to an hour. It just
Oh,
depends.
okay.
Some people, yeah, some people need a little more time. And because we're trying to figure out what's going on, it takes a little longer to get to what's really going on, because in the beginning, it just takes a little longer sometimes to uncover, okay, this is what's really going on, you
Yeah,
know.
that's good.
And so it's anywhere from 30 minutes to an hour. And we just see where you are, what's going on, and determine if financial coaching is really something that you want to do. I know when I was coming out of my situation, I had the concept of money, but the guy at that time, because it was so many years ago, they weren't called financial coaches at that time. But the guy that actually came to my house and sat down with me and held me accountable was actually one of my church members because he was over the finance department at my church. So anyway, and he worked for a company. So he came and he pretty much held me accountable. He sat down and we looked at what I had. We mapped out a plan and I followed that plan. And
Okay.
he held me accountable the entire time until I got to the end of that plan. And I promised myself that I was going to get to the end of that plan, and I did.
Mm.
It was worth it in the end. It was hard work. It was not what I expected because I thought that getting out of debt, I would still have some money to spend, but no, I did not. I did not because all of the funds were accounted for
Yeah.
something, but I knew there was a better day coming. So I
Uh-huh.
didn't mind the pain. I didn't mind, going through it because I knew that a better day was coming and things were going to turn around and things were going to be better. So to this day, I'm real thankful for him. For coming and helping me out back then. Like I said, I didn't even know about financial coaching or any of that because it's been so many years ago. but he was in the financial arena at our church, and I wanted to get out of debt. So he came over and we just mapped out a plan. And boom, there I was. I worked that plan. He gave me the plan. I worked it and I got to the end. I'm like, woo!
You make me think years ago, I had a financial coach, clueless. And every time it was a husband and wife team, and every time they came to the house, I had added something to the plate. One day I looked up and they never came back. I just thought about that. I was like, but my children need braces, or stuff like that. And
Ah,
yeah, and that's
yeah. Yeah, it is work because you cannot add to it because you're working your way to get out. You
yeah,
cannot add to it unless you find yourself having a little extra here somewhere to do that. It's work, but it does pay off in the end. It really does.
yeah. And
It
me
really pays
adding to it was strapping me. It wasn't, you know, I'm looking at it saying, well, it's only this long, but that long, however long that period is, it could really strap you.
yeah.
It
Yeah.
could really strap you.
Yeah.
Like I say, clueless, just
Yeah.
clueless.
Yeah, we've all been there, right? We have all been there. Pretty much the majority of us, I'll say, not all of us, but the majority of us have been there. So it is through experience that this book was written. And during my time as a real estate agent, meeting people, buyers who wanted the home but had other issues and couldn't really get the home. And that was like, you know what? I want to educate people. I want them to know because I feel like we should have, don't take this the wrong way, we should be able to get what we want, but there's
Yeah.
certain means, there's certain, strategies and things to get there oftentimes. And I just had the passion just to educate because you just see so many individuals, buyers that wanted a certain type of thing, but they just were not in a position to get what it is that they wanted. And I'm like, hey, let's talk about it. Let's talk about, this is what happened. Let's talk about getting, your credit fixed. Let's talk about getting your finances in order. Let's talk about this stuff so that you can get what your dream home. Don't just walk away and say, nah, it's never going to happen. Yeah, it can happen. And I tell people all the time, it can happen. So don't say that it can't happen. It can happen.
So you're not in the real estate field anymore. You
No, I'm
switched
not in real
over.
estate. Yeah, I still have my license,
Right.
but I'm not selling at the moment.
Uh-huh.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what other good tips you got for us?
There's a
We know
chapter.
you can't give it all away, but
Yeah, there's a chapter. Of course, nobody likes to talk about budgeting,
right.
but we all have to talk about budgeting. And I said this in my book. It's like if the largest corporation in America, has a budget. Think about that. The largest business in America operates with a budget. Think about that. Think about the number of businesses that operate with a budget. So, why is it that we personally cannot operate with a budget? Think about it. I mean, literally think about it. When you go to a company, a corporation, they have budgets and they operate according to their budget. So I tell individuals if a business requires a budget to be able to see where they're going, why shouldn't we? Why shouldn't we personal individuals? Why shouldn't we?
I think budgets scare people.
Yeah, and I think why? Because it scared me in the very beginning because it's the truth. It's reality. And a lot of times we don't want to deal with reality. I can swipe a debit card all day long and do whatever all day long. But when I put it on that paper, it is something about putting this stuff on a piece of paper. It just takes your mind to a whole nother level because it brings everything into perspective. And oftentimes we realize that we are not where we thought we were. And that is a hard thing to digest and to wrap our
I
minds
can really
around.
swallow. Yeah.
Yeah, and I think that is why, because sometimes we don't want to know the truth because the truth is going to hurt. And the truth, may require me to do something different that I don't want to do. So by me,
Uncomfortable.
yeah,
Uncomfortable.
yeah. So by me just going on without my budget, I don't have to know what's really going on. Just keep doing what I'm doing, and I don't have to really,
I don't have
worry.
to pace it.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. So I talk about that, and it is necessary. It's not a fun thing, honestly. It's not. It really isn't. But it is a good thing because it helps keep an individual on track. I mean, it helps you know where you're going, what you need to do, and how you need to get there.
Yeah.
You can just see it, you just map it out. It's your roadmap to get wherever you're going to go. And that's why I say if you go to a company, incorporation, private company, whatever, if those individuals operate on a budget, we as human beings, we need to
Me
operate
too.
on a budget. Yeah, because that's the only way that you know where you are, where you're going, and what you need to do, and how you need to get there. Even if it's something simple as I want to say $500 for the year 2025, you need a plan as to how to get there and make it a fun plan. It doesn't have to be a daunting plan like, oh, I dread it, because yeah, it is dreadful. Make it a fun plan. There are things you can go out there and Google some little things to make saving fun, but map it out and do it. Just do it. Find some fun ways to do it. You can
Give us
just
an example.
say, for instance, now this is what I did for the month of August.
Okay.
I did the no spending challenge.
No spending.
Yep, no spending.
Okay.
And what that was, I did not buy anything. I only bought the necessities. I put it like that. I only bought the necessities. Your toiletries and things of that
Yeah,
nature.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Yeah, I only bought things of necessity and paid the necessary bills that I have. Not incorporating new bills. Not doing any of that. That's what I did. I challenged myself for the month of August, and that's exactly what I did. And I was happy
Mhm.
to do that.
Okay.
Yeah, I stuck to it. Of course, I had to plan my lunch. I had to take my lunch. There were days when I was like, I don't want this, but I'm gonna eat it
Eat
anyway.
it anyway.
I'm gonna eat it anyway.
Discipline.
So
It's talking about being disciplined.
yeah, yeah, you really, 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 really have to be disciplined. But if you make the goal, fun, say, okay, that which is why I did the no spending thing. I'm like, well, that's kind of fun. Hey, I just kind of do this for the month of August and see how that works. But that's something that a person can do. And just the other day, I was thinking, well, I actually did a workshop at my church in the month of July,
Uh-huh.
from the book, 3 Sundays. The second and third, and we had a fifth Sunday, I think, in July, or 3 Sundays in July. And it was something that I told them. I said, now we go shopping, right? We see something that's 50% off, right? We put it on the credit card, okay? Then when the credit card bill comes out, we don't pay it off. We may pay $10 or $20.
Right.
You've already defeated the sale price.
Wow. Oh,
You
wow.
might, you see what I'm saying? You should have. We could just wait until we have the money to buy it at the original price because we put it on the credit card. It was 50% then, but we're paying the full price because we got the interest rate on the credit card. So we bought this blouse 50% off, but we didn't pay it off when the credit card came out. So now we're paying interest rate when we could have waited and paid full price for the blouse.
Wow.
We just defeated the whole thing. You see what I'm
I guess
saying?
we need to use common sense without spending. That's what it sounds like. Let's get some common sense here. Think about this thing.
Yeah. You really do. It's just putting things in perspective. Really, it is. Wants versus needs, what's important right now. It's okay to celebrate yourself, with a win-win here and there. It's okay, go and get yourself something. You win over here. Maybe you accomplish something at work, or any little win-win, and just compensate yourself. Hey, I'm just gonna go get a little something over here just for me. Not going overboard, but I think it's really just putting things in perspective. Really it is. Should I get this now? I want it, but should I get it now
Right.
or should I wait until later? And a lot of times, that's what you will be, challenging yourself on. Should I get it now? Should I get it later? Is it more cost effective to get it now? But if I don't get it now, then I'm gonna have to get it at the regular price. There are a lot of things to really, really, really consider
Yeah.
because the timing may not be right. You know what I'm saying?
My one of the things I tell myself is it necessary? Is it necessary? In
Yeah,
other words, even when it comes to certain things I desire, and I say to myself, is it a necessity or is it
right,
something I want?
right.
You know, because a lot of times it's just, and yeah, I love to shop. I don't shop like that anymore
Mm-hmm.
um, since being retired, but I love to shop. I love to travel. I love to do these things.
Mm-hmm.
But then I have to look and see what I have and see if it's feasible,
Right,
to do.
right,
You know,
right. And there's always tomorrow when we live for the now, and
Mhm.
that's all we do is live for the now. There's a tomorrow that is coming. And it's like, will we be prepared or will you be prepared for that tomorrow when it comes? Or have you enjoyed today so much, just living for the now, and you're nowhere prepared for when that tomorrow does come?
And then you're mad. And say, why did I spend that money? What did I get that for? Why not buy those pair of shoes? I didn't really need them.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
think we get caught up in the emotions or the adrenaline. I'm gonna say the adrenaline when we're at the store and we see something and it's on sale and it's just at such a good price. You know? Then it comes
Yeah.
home and it sits in the closet or whatever with tags on it, because I haven't worn it
Mhm.
yet or something like that. Yeah, yeah,
Yeah, yeah. It's pretty much like you said, just being disciplined. Having
mhm,
that discipline is
yeah.
what you really need, especially now, because there's just so much out there now that is enticing. It's just so much now, and it really requires discipline now more than ever. And COVID hit, and then we were closed down for a while, and I think people are just so glad to kind of live a halfway normal life until
Right, right.
they're shopping and trying to satisfy. But still, here again, that tomorrow will come. And what is your worth? If you add up your worth, your assets and stuff, what do you have? What do you have to fall back on? Just really, what do you have?
And the tomorrow looks real different these days than it used to before
Yes,
COVID.
it does. Yes. Yeah. Everything is so unstable now until you just really don't really know. So, like you say, tomorrow now is different than how it used to be. But are we really prepared? Are we preparing ourselves for that, or are we still out here just living for the now? Just enjoying the day, just living for now, and not worried about when that tomorrow comes, because now we don't know when that we just don't even know from one day to the next about the tomorrow. So it's a good thing to be in position so that when that tomorrow comes, we'll have a hand up. You know what I'm saying?
So when I think about things that are a necessity, and one of the things that I think about is that, and we as a people are short on, is you got to have life insurance. You got to have you hopefully, and not everybody can afford it.
Mm-hmm.
You know, um, just just there's so many people out here that I've talked to that driving around with no car insurance, just different things like that, and but had the nice pocketbooks and the nice shoes and spending hundreds of dollars, thousands of dollars to go to a concert, and you know our priorities is
Yeah.
needs a shift.
Yeah. It's really different now than it used to be. And changing the mindset, as I had said earlier, is the number one thing. But if a person does not desire that, there's really not a whole lot you can do. You can offer it to them, you can share with them, but you can't make them. That's pretty much all you can do. Because, like I said, that tomorrow will come. You keep living, that tomorrow will show up. And then what are you going to do? Unfortunately, have not prepared. And like you were saying, without the car insurance, when that tomorrow comes, if you get in an accident, you know what I'm saying? What are you going to do? Yeah. So it's really about perspective, Leslie. And my own opinion is I, I believe a lot of times what we see is a symptom of something deeper, like a void that we're trying to fill. It's like now everybody's searching for something, everybody's looking for something. But if I can get this, or this, then that will help validate me. That will help me with my self-esteem.
Getting a fix.
Yeah, getting a fix.
So, what would your last words? I don't know. That didn't sound too good.
Oh, nah, it did not sound too good. I'm like, well, where am I going? I'm like, where am I going? Oh,
Any
wow.
last tips? I would love for you to come back. To me has been so rich and so good. Do you have any last tips for us before we close?
Oh, wow. I would just say, I don't know how I want to say this as gentle as I can say it. Um, Money does not solve issues. Money will give you options, but it does not solve issues. We It's very important to keep things in perspective, because that tomorrow, it will come. If we continue to live on your job or whatever, that tomorrow will come. And are we prepared when that tomorrow comes? You know what I'm saying? So now is the time to just kind of sit back, evaluate, look at what you're doing, look at where you are financially, look at where you want to go. Are you doing what needs to be done now to be prepared for that tomorrow whenever it happens? Especially if you have children, are you prepared for that tomorrow? you know and there's no easy fix, there's no quick fix. I don't care what anybody says. There's just one or two things you're going to do. You're either going to cut back, or you're going to get more money. There is no other way. I don't know any other way to make it happen. Either you bring more money in the house, or you cut back. Those are the only two options. Honestly, they really are. Those are the only two options that a person have. If it's not working, if there's not enough, maybe you need to cut back. Or if you have cut back, then unfortunately, maybe you might need to bring in a little extra money. I did that back in the day when I had to. I trimmed the fat, and I brought in more. I had a full-time job back then, and a part-time job years ago, because I had to do what I had to do to get out of that place that I was in. There is no miracle. There is no quick miraculous fix other than cutting back or bringing in more money.
Yeah.
That's it.
Like,
Or check this out. If you have a family that leaves you an inheritance, that's another option.
I was
Yeah,
about to say uh,
yeah, yeah,
that, and when you was talking about the lottery, and if you
yeah.
think about it, even if you win it and your mind is not healed, you still won't have it.
Exactly. You still won't have it. You
Still
still
won't.
won't have it. You want
And
it. Yeah.
people look and say, "Man, that's crazy." And yeah, somebody. One thing I know is that, and this was something I used to do very carelessly. I'm saying because
Mhm.
I would give away what I had because I didn't worry about it because God would give it back to me. It didn't turn out that way,
Mhm.
you know. So we do have to, not saying that He doesn't provide provision. Oh, I
Mhm.
know Him to be a provision provider.
Mhm.
I know for He's made ways out of no ways,
Right.
but that didn't mean that I didn't turn around and do something else because He made a way out of that one thing. So
Yeah.
we do have to be educated and wise with what we do. Wisdom promotes.
Wisdom. I was
Wisdom is
getting ready to say that word, wisdom. Wisdom is the key. You get
yeah,
wisdom, you got it all because wisdom will show you what to do and wisdom will show you the way to go.
yeah,
Wisdom.
that's
Yeah.
good. Yeah. So I would love for you to come back. Let me say, if you look in the description, her book is in there, her email address is in there. Do not hesitate to reach out to her. When you were talking, I was like, "You ain't no coach. You a what did I say? I said she a money counselor. You're not a coach. You're a counselor. You got come lay on my table, come lay on my bed right next to me, and let's
But you
talk about it."
But you know what? That is my background. And that is how I approach things, Leslie, because when I see individuals doing something, there's a symptom to something deeper with everything. With
Exactly.
there is something deeper going. We see the whatever they're doing outwardly, and I always call that is a symptom. But there is something deeper going on.
People.
And me, let's get
Exactly.
to the deeper part so we can heal and be whole and be fulfilled and
Exactly.
successful.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
that's so true. So we do thank you for being here today. It was a joy to have you here. I'm so
Thank
excited.
you.
Matter of fact, the other day on my, I think it was Facebook, one of our lives had popped up of me and you. I guess we could say that was what, that's about 4 years now, 3 years.
Yeah. Yep. Because that was about 20. Yep.
That was
2020.
before the pandemic.
Mm-hmm. Probably
Yeah.
2019 or something like that. Yeah, we go way back when you think about it. I've been knowing you for a long time.
Yeah. And
Yeah.
I I would like for you to come back. I don't know. Uh, well, you have a lot of information. I don't have to worry about that, and you have a lot of wisdom with it. And what I like about it is that you're not just telling us to save money. You're telling us reasons why we don't, and how you're willing to help us
Yeah.
to find out those reasons. You're like, I'm not trying to come in and tell you how to run your money. I just
Right.
want to get to the
Exactly.
bottom of what's going on so that you'll know how to run your money.
Right.
You don't
Exactly.
hear that often.
Yeah.
So
Exactly.
I
Yeah.
appreciate that so
Thank
much.
you.
And in the near future, um, you might have a workbook.
But
And
just let me know when. Let me know when.
yes, yes, yes. So this was good. I want to thank
Thank you.
everybody for being here today. It was our pleasure to serve you today. And we're just so happy that Cynthia was able to come be with us and serve you. If there was no nuggets that you've taken away from today, go back and listen to the replay because you've missed it. She gave us so many nuggets that we could continue to thrive, and that's what we want to do. We want to thrive. We
Yeah.
want to be. I want to say thrivers in the kingdom.
Yeah.
We want to thrive.
Yes.
We want to be that example of what it looks like to be whole. And a part of
Yes.
being whole is having our healing of our money,
Yes.
which causes us to be healed in our mind and find out where the
Yes.
broken pieces are so they can be put back together again.
Yes.
So until we meet again, which will be Sunday, and on Sunday, at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Pastor Spencer will be here with us, and we'll still be talking about the image. We'll be talking about who we are in the kingdom. We've been designed by the word, and we'll still be talking about that. And we hope that you have a good rest of the day. That the rest of, well, we're at the end of the week, but we want it to be good. Take
Yeah.
some thoughts of what was said today. Sit down and do a checklist and see if you
Yeah.
can find out where you really are with your money. Does
Yeah.
your money hurt? Are you hurt when you have to spend it? Are you hurt when it's gone? How do you feel about the money? Is the money going where you want it to go?
Yeah.
Sometimes we get money, we get a blessing, and we in our minds we're going to spend it this way, we're going to spend it that way, and then when we get it we never do what we say we're going to do.
Right.
So those are some things that you really need to look at and find out why. So until we meet again, I want to say thank you all for being here. Whatever time of the day that you come on, I pray that you would receive with a listening ear what was said today. And I love you. We love you, but we can never love you like Yahweh God loves you. So remember, He wants the best for you. Have an amazing day. Until we speak again.